start off.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Rajiv ji. It is such a pleasure to be with the Zena family. So it's been a wonderful opportunity to share my thoughts on why I started MaaS movement. What is the bigger picture? What's the thinking behind, and where does it lead us to? So first and foremost, I must share that in my own explorations, I discovered that over time there is nothing called personal, which is distinct from the larger purpose of for which humans have the motivation. As in, what I mean to say is that uh, a point comes in your life when you realize that for your own growth, for your own personality development, you intuitively espouse the causes which are conventionally seen as larger than life, or which are quote unquote seen as social and even spiritual quest, which inadvertently we think should come at the end of life. I somehow believe that it is only our limitation in terms of our inabilities to come to terms with the real purpose of life, that we defer such an important task to post-retirement years. So that's very important to note that if you look at our traditional ashram vyavastha, we talk about brahmacharya, we talk about grihast, we talk about vanaprasth, and then sannyas, as the progression of different stages of life. And we also talk about our based on our abilities, based on our inclinations, as to whether we choose to be involved in production, whether we choose to involve in management and financial planning and transactions, whether we choose to involve in governance and administration, or whether we realize that the purpose of life is not to become attached to just the worldly needs and desires. And that's where the knowledge and the liberation part comes from, which is well depicted in the phrase sa vidya ya vimuktaye, that the purpose of knowledge, the purpose of vidya is not to become tied up in the bondages, but actually to liberate from them. So having embarked on this journey through a chance, coming across a mantra, a shlok from Bhagavad Gita, which is the 27th words of the 3rd chapter, which essentially I read as translated in English. It said, deluded by egoism, man thinketh I am the doer. And that kind of struck me at a formative years. This was roundabout in the year 1996, when I was kind of about 25 years. And it led me to think that what if we live life without the delusion that we are the doer, which only later the words came that it's called nimitta bhav, or it is about that we are not the karta, we are not the doer. So it led to a certain liberating feeling, even though it had its fair share of trials and tribulations. Lots of changes, lots of upheavals came on the way, lots of social pressures came, because somewhere my desire to just accumulate more wealth in terms of the kind of currency that we deal with, was sublimated to acquire more knowledge, acquire more abilities, and keep investing in our own progress, and in terms of delving deeper into what are the needs and opportunities of the country, of the community, and of the world at large. So that led me to another inflection point from 96 to about 3 years later in 1999, when I had founded an earlier venture called IndianDynamics.com, and based on an email exchange with World Economic Forum, I was invited as a global growth company that is for IndianDynamics.com. And there, I talking to various futurists, and if you remember, those who have been tracking the science, that in 1998 there was a significant surge in global warming, because the warming happens also through various cyclical phenomena, which are also 4 to 5 years, like El Nino and La Nina. So in 99, there was this concern about what are the mitigation and adaptation strategies for global warming, and for what many scientists saw as the coming climate breakdown, which we are witnessing today in front of our eyes. So in terms of the mitigation and adaptation, it was seen that transportation and land use were the key pivotal areas of human habitat, of human activities, which was causing the climate breakdown eventually. So it was the burning of fossil fuels, and that time only I decided that why not also walk the talk and live in a lavish way, in a luxurious way, with health, joy, prosperity, but without burdening the environment, which incidentally we call ourselves as sentient beings, as very intelligent beings, but no plant or no animal burdens the ecology. It doesn't violate the natural principles. So humans shouldn't use their mental faculty to exploit nature, but rather to leverage the bounties of nature. But there's plenty to share around, and still live lavishly. So the whole thought process was kind of breaking away from the mainstream at that time, where greed was being worshipped as God. If you remember those heady years, greed is God was not a taboo word, but rather it was something that people took a fancy of. Greed is God. Similarly, there were many other catchphrases that were gaining currency. But being slightly kind of rebellious, though I would say it was a very cautioned rebellion, because I never broke away from the system. I very much chose to be an integral part of the system and try to reform and transform, as well as transcend the system's limitation. So with this, very sure-footed ideas, and with the kind of the privileges I had of my IIT and IIM upbringing, and my upbringing at Bokaro Steel City, which I would call as a paradise, in today's context, because it had a city park in between, and it had the square roads, and it was like a dream township to grow up as a child and as a youth. And from there, I moved to campuses which were also very well organized, and which were kind of islands of excellence, at IIT Kharagpur, then back to Bokaro Steel City, to the steel plant, where I served for 2 years. Then IIM Calcutta, in the Joka campus, which incidentally is close to the Thakur Pukur Lake, and it has Diamond Harbor seaside close to it. So it was a very pristine environment that I spent all those formative years. And from there, I moved to Ahmedabad, where very deliberate plan to work in the core sectors of the economy. So steel, I had already worked in iron and steel, and then now textiles. And from there on, I started moving to internet, as it was knocking its doors and setting its foot in India. And I could kind of sense the promises and the magic and miracles that internet could create. And I was one of the early, entrants into this space. And I first joined a venture which was set up a month back called Design Expo Network by two alumni from IIT Kanpur who were a year senior to me, where I worked as director, marketing, and corporate planning. And then I set up Indian Dynamics, as I was sharing. So this whole journey has been, a little, I would say, I was very lucky to not get bogged down by the rigmaroles of the Quotidian life, and the pulls and pressures were not applicable in my case. So that gave me the freedom, the liberty to experiment and to think at a global level. And then my quest was simply that why is India called the third world? Why we were called as Vishwaguru when we are supposed to be backward. And now that we are in the 21st century, where is it that we kind of lost the connect? And what does it take for us to regain the ground, the respect of rest of the world, that we are the thought leaders, we are the patrons of knowledge and the sensibilities to keep the human purpose. In an era when many philosophers, many social commentators are concerned that we have entered into a phase of dehumanizing and despiritualizing, and which is being even being sold as an ideology called transhumanism, where humans are not considered as a spirit, but rather as hackable animals, where they are just a bunch of DNA codes, and their minds can be mapped into a supercomputer, and some kind of technology similarity as a delusional nirvana can be achieved by that means. So the first quest of Western world was to pamper the body, provide all the body comforts. But when they ran out of options, and they in fact ended up making the world very unhealthy and very unsafe, then they turned to the depopulation, and that even if you are crippled, even if you are handicapped, autistic, your mind could be preserved, because you're not the body, even now you are the mind. So they have been playing with their delusions and their, and by very intelligent control of the economic system, they've also ended up creating a system which can be best described as a mental asylum run by the inmates. So that led me to believe that chasing money is actually a very frivolous and a very futile exercise. Rather, what matters is who's printing the money. And when you talk about who's printing the money, it talks about who is controlling the world order. So my quest through mass movement is, on one hand, to restore the humanizing and the spiritualizing. And simultaneously, it is to create what we call as our humane and indigenous new world order, which will bring peace, joy, prosperity for all in harmony with nature. So that in a nutshell, Rajivji, is where we are with mass movement. So I've shared my personal journey as well as the larger purpose, as we discussed just before this session. Thank you.
बहुत अच्छा
Ali
लगा भाई
bhai,
चंद्र।
you have any, I would not say question, but anything that you would want to substantiate?
Chandra Vikash ji, I think he's spoken very extremely well and eloquent about everything and to the point. There is there are no stop gaps in his delivery. His vision is clear and his mission is clear. And I wish him luck. And if there's any support I can give him, I'll be very happy to do so.
So can I
Vinay bhai,
also
just
comment
for
on Aliji that he's really, helped me understand China and, the world much better, so in terms of as a human being and, thank you so much for your kind comments, Alisha and Shaji.
Vinay
Maybe I'll
bhai, just you have logged in last half a minute, and I know, I understand you're still in the college, but if you can just on the audio, if you can just wrap up the session with we have very scripted welcome note and thank you note kind of thing. Is it possible?
maybe
You're asking me or Aliji?
No, no, I am asking Vinay bhai. He
Vinay
also
Pandey
from
ji.
Vinay
college.
Pandey ji. Okay, okay. All right, yeah.
पांडे जी हैं
पांडे जी आ गए ना?
मौन हैं
नहीं, वो बोल चुके हैं मेरे को कि he is in a class. So, no, please.
नो प्लीज
So, he cannot come on audio or video.
अच्छा तो ठीक है बस
तो
हम तो
आप अपने तरीके से अली भाई
भाई
एक
हम तो चंद्र विकास जी से
आप एक
संपर्क
नहीं,
हमारा है थ्रू
थैंक
हिज
यू
अंकल whom
वाला
is a very
कर दी
very volatile, and I wouldn't say volatile, he was a very fastidious and strong personality who also believes in movement of the uh, right things in the right manner. And he's he started with this movement of when I met him, that he started with this movement of using light soil for fertilizer. And I happened to be in touch with somebody in China. I got him the machine, but somehow things didn't work. But he kept on, he keeps on doing something or the other. He's not worried about his failure or this, whether it comes or it goes. So he's a man on the move. Now he's on to the quest for river cleaning, and his partner has been to China, to Tibet, and all other places where the rivers come into India, flow into India. I think the next visit is to Pakistan or to the Gilgit area. I have been extremely privileged to meet Chandra Vikash ji and his uncle and another nephew, Ratan Jha. Hmm. So it's been a very Jha-like journey for me. And I mean, I've been taught and trained plus enlightened in many aspects of worldly subjects, which are new to me and which are somewhat little off the beaten track. But I think these are the subjects and these are the needs of the future which we are dealing with at the moment. So I would like to thank Mr. Jha, Chandra ji. Thank you so much for your time, for your
Thank
delivery,
you.
and I mean for not delivery that way, your speech. And we hope that we will continue with this event. You see, irrespective of audience, it does not matter. As long as you are there, you have your vision, you have your aim. You have to change the world. How you do it, it may be with one person. If that one person may be millions of people. So thank you again and enjoy yourself. Good luck. And if there's any way I can, in my small way, I can help to knowledge or something, I'm very active on Quora. So you go through my Quora thing. I might be given the status of writer soon. So let's hope. क्या होता है, देखिए. Every day I have to answer 20, 30 questions which are pertinent to the current scenario.